Welcome, everybody, to the Unfiltered Truth. I am your host, Phil Robinson. With me, as always, my brother from another mother, Mr. Phil motherfucking G.
What's good, baby?
So, welcome back. It's been a minute since we've had a little Unfiltered Truth. We were waiting for this particular moment, and we actually have a special guest backstage. We'll bring him on in just a second. But we got our guy, Jones. We got our guy.
We did it, Phil. We did it.
We didn't really do much of anything. But for those of you who don't know, Klint Kubiak was in Las Vegas, signed his contract, and conducted his introductory press conference as head coach of your Las Vegas Raiders. Backstage, we have Silver and Black Sports Network host, Mr. Jesse Merrick, friend of the program. Jesse, what's happening, player?
What up, guys? How we doing?
We are doing phenomenal. So you were in attendance for said press conference. So what was your takeaways from it?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think for the first time in a while, and I said it, I did a live show earlier today, kind of breaking this down, and I think for the first time in a while, like if you're a Raiders fan, you have to feel pretty confident about the direction this is going. Like, yes, there's some unknown with Klint Kubiak. Don't get me wrong, but with Pete Carroll, it was a retread with a big, long resume. Okay, let's be real about that. And you had some reason for optimism, but then prior to that, obviously Antonio Pierce and not knowing what was going to be coming, and then obviously Josh McDaniels and everything that came along with him and how that blew up in his face the previous time before. I think Klint and like each and every one of those guys, whether good, bad, whatever, has kind of like this like roller coaster ride that always seems to follow him around a bit. Whereas with Klint Kubiak, this guy just the whole time up there, just level-headed. So like that was where I left thinking like it was the quote where he said, "I'm not here to write checks," Like, and I was like, when he said that, I was like, "Ooh, man, like that's kind of a bar too, first of all, but like also like that makes sense. Like you're not going to win a game by sitting up there and doing it." How many times we heard people, whether it's Pete Carroll with to compete or other people when it's like, we're trying to win now and all this stuff. He came in and has made it very clear that like rebuild or not, he's approaching it the same way each and every day and has come in and said, we're going to lay the foundation for the future of what's to come. So I left being very impressed with Klint Kubiak, and he looks like a guy who's grown up around the game. Obviously his dad and everything that he's grown up around and coming from a Super Bowl franchise, all that stuff.
So when was the last time you were around a real Super Bowl winner, a young Super Bowl winner? Not like a guy you watched on TV 10, 15 years ago, but the dude you watched do it yesterday.
Yeah, man. I can't tell you the last time that was the case. I'm sitting here trying to think of dudes that I've covered over the years right after, and I mean this is definitely the freshest. Let's be real about that. You know what I mean? Literally, what, 2 days off of it? I can't think of one off the top of my head, to be completely honest. And you could see he was tired. First of all, he even joked. He's like, I just got done coaching 2 days ago. And he said he's got a lot of catching up to do. But yeah, it's been a minute since I've been around a guy that fresh off of a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and watching that, knowing that how like you said he was tired, I was just amazed that he got here before they had the parade. That was I figured for sure he would have came after the parade and nobody would have faulted him for it. But the fact that dude rolled out of bed off after that, I'm hoping the after party, because I mean you got to be able to get after it a little bit after you win the bowl, right?
Yeah, I would imagine so. You got a little bit of a fun time after that. Hey, he's a family man too, though. So maybe his wife was like, "Yo, I just spent the entire day with the kids. It's your turn, Super Bowl winner or not. I get to celebrate this." So maybe that's how it went down. And she was like, "Hey, we got to fight."
Somebody had there. No, but for sure. But but the fact that he was just the way that he was gung ho at the bowl after having won was dope, awesome to see.
Yeah,
and I really like his demeanor and the way that what's the word I'm looking for? That he composed himself. We'll go with that one. That wasn't it, but and just like you said, kept it straight down the middle. Didn't bullshit anybody. Told you this is what it is. We're here to earn your trust, and that because honest and truthfully, that's what the Raiders have to do. They have to do it for Raider Nation. They have to do it for the rest of the NFL landscape in order to get the respect they desperately desire.
Yeah. And look, like I'll be honest, like I've yet to see a coach that the Raiders have brought in win the press conference, quote unquote. You know what I mean? But he's like he won the press conference, obviously. But like he didn't say anything outlandish or and like I left like feeling pretty good about the direction the team is going. There's some guys, they go up there and you're like fired up, you're ready to run through a brick wall for some of those guys, some of them. Whereas with him, like, and I don't mean this as a knock, like I just left feeling like, hey, they're in good hands. And you could even see that from Mark Davis too. Like, think about it too. Like, so Mark is usually in the past, he's been up there on the stage with them. Right. And this time they let the legends go up there. They let all the alumni sit around him. And Mark's in the back, shirt open, a couple buttons undone, just laid back, kicking it with some of the other guys in the ownership group, looking very relaxed, because like they got their guy. And I asked him kind of what the process was, because it's very clear this was their number one target. Like, and I said it, like, I do think that they had real interest in Jesse Minter. I would imagine in hindsight now, Jesse Minter probably their number 2 choice, like before he ended up taking the job in Baltimore. But I would imagine he's probably their number 2 choice, even though they come out and say, offensive coach and all those different things. I think Jesse Minter was really high up there. But they zeroed in on Kubiak from the get-go, and they took a gamble. And that's Mark's word. It was a gamble waiting this long. And it worked out. And so you got to give kudos, one, to Mark for empowering, Brady and Spytech to take their time and really do the due diligence. 22 interviews, 15 candidates. That's crazy. That's a lot in a long time. And if he says no, then you're left going to, after so many people had bowed out, probably Ishiro Iviro. Really good coach, but doesn't have the same sizzle as, a Klint Kubiak right now coming off of a Super Bowl. So they made the gamble, and it paid off in a big way for them. And obviously we'll see how much it pays off once the season rolls around and what it looks like on the field and all of that. But right now they're looking pretty good. And I can see the ease of everyone in the building because they got their guy.
One of the things that I noticed more right away was Spytech himself and the way that how composed how much more relaxed he looked, how much more kind of in control of the situation. And to me, as you stated about the alumni being up there and Mark sitting in the back, that spoke volumes to me. That he's in terms of him being trusted as the guy to run football operations and him to be the boss. There'd be no question. And yes, I know he's not the boss per se, but to be the guy at where he's making the football decisions in terms of personnel, hiring the coaches, and with all of the scouting departments and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. And I will say too, like I asked Mark this after the fact as well, just about the hierarchy of decision making, because you hear the reports coming out, from Pelissero, I believe it was, talking about how some of the candidates that left, they don't know who's in charge,
Mhm.
or who's really making the decisions. And
Yeah.
I'll be honest, like we still don't quite know exactly who the 1A is, but when I asked Mark today, he said that it's Brady and Spytek together.
Mhm.
He wouldn't give a 1A, 1B, and he said that Klint now reports to both of them. He
Mhm.
did name Spytek first. He said John, the GM, and Tom, and threw him in there. But like that's where, but like at least at the very least, I think now so many people probably always had wondered over the years is like, okay, how much involvement is there from Mark? Mark's the guy that wants to hire somebody and kick back.
Mhm.
Not fully, but I mean, he wants to let the football people make the decisions. You've heard Tom Telesco say that. You've seen that in the fact that he gave Gruden a 10-year deal. Like he wants somebody to come in and do the damn thing and let the football people be the
Yeah.
football people. He did it with the Aces and Becky Hammond. He brought
Right.
her in, gave her a bag, and let her do her thing. And look what they've done. They've won 3
Thank God.
championships. That's
Right.
what he wants.
Yeah.
So Mark's hiring the football guys, Tom Brady and John Spytek, to do that. And if you go and look at their resumes, those are 2 pretty damn good guys to be going and doing that. Okay. Like Tom Brady, the GOAT, it was agreed upon by 99% of the people out there,
Right.
that he is the GOAT. So why would you not lean on him? Yes, he hasn't ran an organization before and all those different things, but that guy knows more football or has forgotten more football than any of us will ever know. And then you have Spytek, who, yes, is a new GM, young GM, but like has still been a part of a team that turned over a roster. You hear from Gary Kubiak as well. You see the quotes back then of talking about how pivotal John Spytek was in getting him prepared to take over the job with the Denver Broncos the year that they go and won the Super Bowl. So like John's a
Right.
guy that's been there, done that, lived a football life, and impacted a lot of really good coaches and players and done a lot of really good work. So in terms of who the decision makers are, like I think the Raiders are in good hands with the 2 of them doing it. It's now just finally like we get to see their number one plan come to fruition, because obviously last year that blew up in their face.
No, absolutely. That's real. And then really all the stars are literally lined up for them. You're in line, you got in line for getting your head coach. Now you're in line to get your quarterback.
We can't talk about that yet.
I'm just
Hey,
saying,
Okay.
hey,
A lot of time.
can you blame a guy?
we couldn't talk about
You know
Kubiak
how
either.
long I've been waiting for this?
We couldn't talk about Kubiak, and we've been talking about Kubiak for how long now? So we can talk about Fernando. Come on now.
Yeah.
But we're gonna trade the pick away. Man, everybody. I'm like,
Yeah. Anything is possible, but I do not believe there is a world where that actually happens.
I think that would be the ESPN 30 for 30.
Oh God.
What happened to Fernando?
Yeah, that'd be pretty wild.
there that night, but it wasn't Fernando. Oh, so I'm gonna switch gears on you. So the last time we spoke on the program, you're with the news. Now you're running your own thing. So how's
Yeah.
that been like?
Man, so how I just talked about all the coaches that have come in, and it's a roller coaster ride that follows them around. It's been a roller coaster ride for me in a great way. I will say that, like in a great way. But man, like you guys know when you're grinding, doing your own thing, like it's a lot of work. And I loved my time at NBC here in Vegas. Like Channel 3 treated me well. I love my guy Brian Salmon. Literally, we chopped it up for 45 minutes today down at the facility. Still one of my best friends. And I reiterate this every chance I can get, just because I don't want people to think it was like some weird exit. Like I didn't get fired. I left under my own accord. You know what I mean? Like, and I went all in on this because I saw the vision for what I wanted it to be. And I told myself going into it, like, I'm just going to put like my nose to the grindstone for 6 months and sit back and see, what I can do. And it's been pretty crazy to see. Like I'm still learning, like this is a different game for me. Like, yeah, I've done TV for over 13 years now. This is just a different avenue, and obviously learning the YouTube game and shorts and all the different things that come along with, and script writing is different for YouTube and all of those things, and live interactions, doing live shows like this. I just recently started integrating them. It's a funny story. The first game of the season, I went out to New England. did a live show, but my mic wasn't turned on. and the thing is I was shooting the software that I use. I'm shooting it off of my phone. And so it's turned around. I'm thinking I'm good. I record a whole 45-minute podcast on the field down there.
Man.
After and get this too, like, you know, again, the shoestring operation early on. Like I booked the flight to get in on Sunday morning in Boston, from the airport in Boston to Foxborough. So I took a red eye, you know, so like I'm running short on sleep, all that stuff. So this is after the game, after running around doing all that stuff. And then I record the thing and flip it around and find out, oh God, my mic wasn't on. And so I had to retape the entire podcast again. And so I was so scared to do a live show again, because I was like, I it was the first game of the year. Like I blew it. So I just started doing live shows again, and I love it. It's so much fun interacting with Raider Nation, you know, and doing that stuff, and like it's been fun. And so the cool thing with all this is like it's you never know how a fan base is going to take you, or like, you know,
really don't.
You know, yeah, you really don't. And obviously, like I covered the team from 2019 to July of 2025 for NBC here, but I wasn't there every single day. It wasn't the same as you are doing it every day. And the brand is me 100% now. And so that was a different level of it. So again, like seeing the way that Raider Nation has like embraced me and like gassed me up every time I'm doing the shows and in the comments and stuff, like that has been very refreshing. I love it. Like like I've said it many times, like I'm not a Raiders fan. I am a Buccaneers fan. I will never pretend to be anything that I'm not. But like, my God, Raider Nation has accepted me with open arms, and it's awesome. Like, I love that fact of it. So even though it's a roller coaster ride and you're figuring all these things out and you're working harder than you ever have, like it's been so much fun, and I'm fired up to be doing it for a fan base like Raider Nation, you know, because it's been awesome. And this is just the beginning of it too.
Right on. You said, huh? Yeah.
Absolutely, man. I mean, this your own baby that you get to run with now. And I know you love the feeling of being able to say what you really want to say off your chest.
Yeah. Oh man, that is definitely nice. The first time I cussed on the podcast, I was like, "Oh my God!"
I was like, I know you paused it, and you were like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah, it was actually funny because I did it with a guest. Yeah, I did it with a guest of mine that used to do radio. My buddy Matt Peralt. Shout out to Matt. He does a lot of our betting content with me, and you know, so he comes from the trained media background as well. And you know, I think I said shit or something like that. I don't know, whatever it was. And he even goes, like, you know, his eyes popped a little because he was like, wait, the TV guy said that? Like, you know, but I did pause for a second, and then I was like, forget it. It's my show. Like I can say and do whatever I want. Now I'm not spouting off every 5 seconds because obviously YouTube, you know how they are. But you know, it's been freeing with that too. And like I've even had people say, like, and I've always prided myself on being myself, even when I was in, you know, local journalism, working for TV, you know, and doing that whole thing. Because there's so many people that do it and they are not themselves. Like I've always tried to be myself. My mentors instilled that in me from the get-go. But there is a different level of freedom. And like it's funny because I have friends that have known me, you know, since college, since before then, that have seen me kind of come up through the ranks as a journalist and all that. And like they were saying, they're like, dude, you just look so much more comfortable. And I was like, man, was I really that different before? But like I see it. I definitely was. And so it's been kind of cool to see the growth in that aspect of it as well. You know, and getting used to that whole process and just the comfortability level of doing, like you guys know, talking for an hour. It's hard. That's a long time, man. You know,
one thing that I couldn't do. I was like, I don't like the sound of my own voice.
Oh no, I hate it. Yeah, I hate my voice. Yeah.
I
hate listening to it. But hey, shout out to the people that actually sit and listen to us for, you know, 20, 30, 40 hour plus sometimes, you know? They're the real ones for it.
Hey, you got to keep delivering the truth, and that's what they respect. Is the authenticity, the honesty, you being you being free to express yourself and put your own stamp on the content creation game, especially with the news background, because you have the unique knowledge and experience to be able to do it both ways.
And it's been fun to kind of mesh those two worlds, you know, and it's actually kind of funny too, because like, you know, I still have friends that are in the business. My girlfriend is still in the business. Like, I'm still it's very front and center for me. I see it all the time. I watch, and it's funny because like local TV is very slow to adapt. Like, let's just keep it real. you know, and they're starting to kind of see the writing on the wall, and they see the opportunity. And so I'm like, God, I'm glad I pulled the ripcord, for lack of a better word, when I did, to kind of be able to get ahead of the curve with it, you know. And I still felt like I was late to the game, you know. And so so it's cool seeing this medium grow and seeing YouTube grow and the creator economy, you know, for like lack of a better word, and how that's turning into a thing. And you see so many people, whether it's like local newsletters, you know, in some places where they're like servicing small towns, and like, even like, not to bash anybody out there, but like, obviously, like, okay, let's talk about the Athletic, for instance. Like, they initially started being a team that was going to have local team coverage in every market. You know what I mean? Right. And I love the Athletic. I'm a subscriber of the Athletic. Don't get me wrong. I read the hell out of the Athletic. I think they're awesome. But we've seen them drift away from that model a bit now, specifically with the Raiders too. And I think that's sad, you know? And so I hope that they stick to what they said they were going to be. And many other papers and publications all across the country. The Washington Post, obviously front and center with what's gone on recently. Like, it's a sad day in journalism when you see that stuff go down, because I have seen firsthand that there is definitely an appetite for fans there. You just have to do it the right way. And again, I'm still learning how to do it the right way, but there is definitely a lane there where it can be done.
No, that's real. Like me being out here in DC near the Washington Post somewhere, that I was like, oh, you know, I wanted to grow up and try to at least try to write for them and whatnot. But just to see that whole situation play out, I mean, it really does suck. One thing I gotta ask you, Jesse, my guy, has anybody ever told you you look like Andy Dalton sometimes?
So it's funny you bring that up. I'll give a shout out to another project I'm working on. It's called Redhead Sports. I was approached to do it a while ago, and so it's basically me interviewing redheaded athletes. Ridiculous, but yeah, it's funny. And so I've gotten Andy Dalton. I've gotten Shaun White. I'm trying to think.
Shit! What?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Shaun White when I was a kid. So get this, I hate even saying this, because somebody listening to this is going to go find a damn picture and it's going to haunt me for the rest of my life. But I used to have long hair. When Shaun White had long hair, I was growing up with some long hair. Like, I'm talking like shoulder length.
I shit you not. I can see it.
Yeah,
I can actually see it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it was bad. I know I said I didn't want anybody to look it up, but if I had my phone next to me, my phone's totally the other side of the room. Otherwise, I'd grab it.
I wouldn't shoot you, buddy.
Yeah. Oh, it's like I said, my girlfriend, my mom sent the picture to my girlfriend, and she has never let me live it down. You know, and so I was like cracking up. But so yeah, long story short, I get confused for every redhead imaginable. Like, you name a guy, and I get like they think that I'm him. Like, so Devontae Adams, actually, we talked about him a little bit. He actually, after a press conference, walks up to me when he's over here, and he's like, "Man, has anybody ever told you look like that guy from Homeland?" You know, what's his name? I'm blank. It was the same guy that did Billions. Yeah. I got that. I get the kid from God, what's the one that it's based in Detroit, and it's The Family. God, what are they? Shameless. I get the kid from Shameless.
No!
Yeah, I get that. Dude, it is hilarious, because it's like literally every redhead you could imagine. And the funny thing too is with doing doing the Redhead Sports podcast, like, we talked to Dante DiVincenzo, we talked to Kevin Herter, we talked to Justin Turner from the Cubs, and we also talked to Matt Bonner. And I asked them, I was like, do you get confused for like every redhead ever as well? And they're like, and some of them, some of those dudes are a little more unique looking. I think I'm a little more like generic white redhead dude, but like these guys, they are a little more unique. But like, they have said, they're like, yeah, we get confused for a lot of different redheads too. Like, I think Kevin Herter and I are a little more similar than maybe some of the other guys. I don't have the beard like Justin Turner, but so I was laughing as those clips have come out, because we launched 2 weeks ago. It's been hilarious to see them, because I'm looking through the comments. Some guys are like, wait, am I watching the same two people? You know, and so it's always funny seeing.
Yeah, you can definitely pass as Kevin Herter. Yeah. When I used to cover him at Maryland, like, yeah, you got the look. Yeah, you can pass as Kevin.
My jumper was like his, man. I'll tell you that. My jumper's perpetually broken. I wish I could shoot like.
I tell you this: you ever come out here to Maryland? You come out to College Park. You wear a Kevin Herter jersey. They're gonna think you're him right off the get go.
That would actually be a funny bit for the pod.
That would be hella funny.
Oh, yeah. Hey, you might have stumbled onto something there. I think you should run with that. Just go randomly and just start fucking with people with a
right. Well, the other thing on that note too, I used to always mess around. So like Shaun White used to come to Vegas a lot.
Yeah.
So I think he still does. And I get at a lot of the events, people be like, "Oh, are you Shaun White? Are you Shaun White?" Da, da, da. And I'm like, "No." And I was asking one time, I'm like, I wonder if Shaun White, because I was on TV out here for 6 years. I wonder if Shaun White ever got confused for me when he was out and about in Vegas. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder.
Right.
Probably not, but maybe.
It could happen. I mean, hey, you were on the news. You were on the news, so it could happen.
There's some diehard local news fans. I love those people.
Right. And you were getting more airtime than he was. It wasn't winter.
That is true. That was what during his kind of downturn for sure. Yeah, before he kind of resurfaced again.
Oh man, they said Canelo.
Oh yeah, I can see the comments. That's good. I have gotten the Canelo one. So I actually, I'm killing myself not having the phone next to me. So I have a shot of me interviewing Canelo when I was at Channel 3 here. I got a shot of me interviewing Canelo. It's a side profile. Looks identical. Looks exactly the same. It's hilarious. Like even objectively, I'm like, damn, we look alike. I was like, mi hermano Canelo. Yeah.
Oh man.
That's awesome. Well, I didn't tell you honestly, I didn't expect it to take this turn. I got to try to get it back.
Hey, look.
When you bring Ginger on the show, it's always bound to go back to Ginger topics. Like, I mean, you know what I mean?
Hey, at least, and you know what? You own it, and you run with it. That's the best thing you can do. You try to fight it, it's gonna be a bad situation.
100%.
I don't know if you would consider Sam Darnold a ginger.
Oh yeah, 100%.
100% ginger.
Yeah, they dropped. So Eddie Pascal, homie of mine that I used to do the Raiders podcast. You guys,
I remember.
Used to work for the Raiders. He's actually up in Seattle working for the Seahawks now. They dropped some Sam Darnold ginger Seahawks content. God, probably 3 weeks ago now. But he texted me. He's like, "Peep our next drop coming up pretty soon. Sam Darnold ginger content." So he's 100% a ginger.
I'm getting attacked by cats over here.
That's what I thought that was. I was like, what the hell's going on there?
Just kind of happens.
Man, just throw the catnip over in the corner, bro. That's all you got to do.
Right? That's probably what I should do. Right. Getting back. So we talked about Maxx. We've talked about Spy Tech. We've talked about Kubiak and
well, speaking of Maxx, and we kind of ran past this. This evening he was on the Let's Go podcast, and he said a few things to Jim Gray. I'm gonna read it back to you. People that know me know I'm about the work and football. I just want to play football and be left the fuck alone. Period. And people that don't understand that don't fucking know me. I play because I'm obsessed with it. I could fucking play the game for zero, and I played it for 15 to 20 years, not making $1. I ain't trying to say where the hell he used to live at, because that's a long fucking name. Man was living on a damn I was living on a damn mattress, and I drove across the country by myself and made it happen. I have a lot of goals, but I do want to win. That's all that matters ultimately. But I want to be in a place that where mentally I'm 100% myself. I just want to focus on football. That's truly what I want. Now, there are going to be people in the next, I say 6 to 8 hours that are going to take that out of context and try to say that he's not mentally fit here in Vegas. He wants to move on, and that's going to lead to this massive haul and trade for the Raiders. It's going to be a whole more shit show of we need drama in around the league during the off season because we have nothing else to really talk about, basically.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, this is the time where things are going to slow down a bit. Obviously teams are going to be filling out their staffs and everything, but to have Max's name in the news, that's going to get clicks. You guys know how the business is, and so people are going to throw that stuff around. And look, I've said it many times on anytime I'm in front of a mic, like whenever the question comes around, I don't think Maxx Crosby is going to leave the Raiders. I think Maxx Crosby is going to be a Raider next season, but anything can happen. And if he leaves, like I said this to you guys before we got rolling, we were talking about it. Like, I think it's a win-win situation for the Raiders. Like, yes, they are better with Maxx Crosby. There's no denying that whatsoever. Max is that dude. But if they do end up trading him, they are getting a haul for him. You know, they're going to get some quality return for him, and then they can start to build and do that. Now, is that a guarantee to get another Maxx Crosby? Hell no, because it's hard to find those guys, you know? But having said all of that, yeah, people are going to run with what he said there. And he could make life easier on him for himself and say, I want to play for the Raiders. I don't want to play for anybody else. We've heard him say that before. And he's not saying that now, but I do believe that Max wants to play for the Raiders. But again, at the end of the day, he has said so many times, all he wants to do is win. He does not care about anything else. That guy works harder than so many people out there. You see it in the number of snaps that he plays. You see it in how pissed off he was when they shut him down, all that stuff. Like, you can't sit there and tell me that dude does not love football. And to put your body on the line like he does and not be rewarded for it, that takes its toll. But
no, you're absolutely right on that one.
Exactly. And like, if the Raiders can turn it around, like, I guarantee you there's nowhere else he would rather win than here in Las Vegas. So yeah, he is bought in. He is a Raider until he's not. So for me, I have said I may be wrong, whatever, but I am not going to believe any of it until I see it happen. Until then, I think Max is going to be a Raider. Everybody I talk to says Max is a Raider, and he will continue to be a Raider.
I believe what you're saying, and I do also believe he'll still be a Raider. For someone that has established himself in Vegas, you build a new house, you got things established for your family, your involvement with Dana White within USC, and he's been about being a grinder. Mm-hmm. He's been that person I'm going to play 100 fucking snaps until I can't use my damn pinky toe.
Yeah.
He's that guy that will keep going until the whistle is blown. Shit, if you asked him to play offense, he probably would run the fucking ball.
He'd gladly play tight end. He said that before.
So I get and I know what the frustration is. When you have been on a team since your rookie year, 2019, from Oakland, you've only seen one playoff. And you're like, I'm doing everything in my power to try to do what is asked of me, and I have not gotten what everybody else is getting. And I'm playing better than that person and better than that person. I mean, you can say the same shit with Myles Garrett. That motherfucker's a one-man wrecking crew, and shit, he's in Cleveland. He's in hell. I'm calling it what it is. But yeah, when you have so much turnover with the coaching staff, you're not addressing the quarterback situation, and you're just going with the half-ass shit that you did last year, because I'm going to call it what it is. It's half-ass. He has every right to feel the way he feels right now. And I hope this all turns around, but people need to stop. What I put it like Will Smith. Keep your motherfucking name out your mouth. That's the whole thing right now. That's what he's feeling. Keep your name out my mouth if you don't fucking know me. If you don't know what the fuck goes on in my mind or what I usually say, shut the fuck up. He is basically, hey, I'm going through this shit. I'm just rambling. I don't mean it. And that's what I think this is.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I think it is one of those things, like you said, the frustration is obviously there, you know, and I told you guys as well, like, I think Max has earned the right to call his shot. And I think that's what's going to happen. Like, Kubiak said that he had a cup of coffee with him this morning. They chatted things through. Kubiak's made it clear he wants Max to continue to be a Raider. Now, look, he ain't going to sit up there and say, oh, no, we're trading him. like let's also keep that real, too. But there's a way to tiptoe around it, because all these press conferences anyway, like, you have to read between the lines. Like, you have to. That's just the name of the game. With the way coaches are and a lot of the canned answers and all that stuff, you have to find a way to read between the lines. And to me, he could have answered it in a way where you would have been like, okay, yeah, maybe he's not sold on Maxx. Like, he made it very clear his feelings about Maxx. He wants to coach Maxx. He wants Maxx to be on the Raiders.
Yeah.
He is all in on him being a Raider. John Spytek has made that clear. I go back to the last time we talked to him when they fired Pete Carroll. Spytek said he was here in Las Vegas when a lot of good players walked out the door. You guys know, you've been following the Raiders how long now? I mean, how many?
All my life.
How many years have you seen guys go somewhere else and have a career year or play as good as they have in quite some time? You know, and John Spytek knows that. He saw that. Like, so you think they're going to let the greatest Raider in the last how many years? You guys tell me.
Shit.
Quite a few.
Yeah. So, I mean,
in fact, he saw a few of the guys that he let walk last on Sunday.
Yeah. Exactly. So, like, to me, that's why, like, I just have a hard time believing that they are going again, no matter what the haul is. And I understand they have a lot of holes, unless somebody gives them a Godfather offer. I just don't see how they're going to let that guy walk out the door.
No. And speaking of the roster right now, one thing that Klint said, he's going to have to look at a lot of tape on some of these guys, because I feel that there are guys that we're passing judge on, saying that, oh, well, he didn't do good on this spot or that spot last year. And what I'm pertaining to is the offensive line.
Yeah.
You look at the situation with what you had with Brennan Carroll not doing his job as an offensive line coach. So, and this is coming from another offensive line coach here. When you hear the shit that he did, someone needs to throw a brick at him. Because real talk.
So hold on real quick. So we got this man here, and so we don't have to ask about other people's opinion. What did you see about that situation?
Lord.
I have to know, if there is any truth to this, like we said earlier, you know, I had this idea of where Pete was, and to hear about what was actually going on, and to me, I got kids, and to me, to sit and watch your son just do absolutely nothing, like, you talk about compete, and your son is over here doing absolutely, I can't even process that mentally. How is this possible?
Yeah, look, and I said it multiple times throughout the year. You know, it's a tough position for Pete to put himself in. Like, you know, I don't have kids. I got a nephew that I love to death. You know, so that's as far as I can talk about it in that regard. But like, if you hire someone, if I were to hire my nephew, and he wasn't doing his job, like I would do anything and everything I possibly could to get him going, to do it, probably to a detriment. And that seems like that was the case, you know, because you hear everything that comes out of there, and it's easy to see. You know, the dysfunction was easy to see on the field, and you hear about the dysfunction in that room, you know, as soon as the decisions become final and in what direction things start going in terms of getting rid of Pete and all of that. And so, yeah, if you're going to bring your kids, you better make sure that they are going to be up to snuff, and they just weren't. And that's the facts of the matter with it, you know, and that sucks. Because again, like I said, like there was nobody rooting for Pete Carroll more than me, because the history of it was a kid growing up watching SC. Like, I hate to see that man's reputation tarnished, you know, that sucks. And so, yeah, when you hire your sons, when you bring family onto your roster as a coach, as a player, whatever it is, you open the door for that criticism. Some of it fair, some of it not. But he definitely didn't help his case, that's for sure. And I do think that now, like to your point, with a new coach coming in, one, with a scheme that's friendly to offensive line play. Now, look, they all have to be on the same page. They got to be good players, all that stuff. But a zone blocking scheme, if you're on the same page, is much friendlier to an offensive line. And then two, better coaching. Like, so they're not going to run it back. They're going to invest in the offensive line.
Right.
They are going to. Otherwise, Raider Nation will be marching at the gates. Yeah. with pitchforks and everything, and I wouldn't blame them.
See that.
But they are going to invest in the offensive line. But you could run it back with the same group, with better coaching, all that stuff, and I guarantee you we see them elevate. You go and look in Seattle, and yes, they addressed and they added some pieces and all that stuff. They were, God, what? Like, I think I forget the 28th in rushing yards per game, I think it was up there in Seattle. He got them up to the 4th best rushing offense in the league this year. That's a massive turnaround. That also goes with John Benton, his offensive line coach, who I believe will be following him here to Las Vegas. Really good coach. He's followed him everywhere. You know, he's also got ties to Gary Kubiak as well. So, yeah, I think better coaching, reinvest in the offensive line, new scheme, that is going to work wonders for the Raiders' rushing attack. That alone will help them and Ashton Genty so much more.
Man, look, you already said the name, John Benton. Going back to them Houston days, my God, what he did with that offensive line, and they were average.
Yeah,
they were average guys. When you looked at Arian Foster, if you really look at it, people consider him like, oh, he wasn't really that guy at first. But when he got behind that line and stayed healthy, he was dominant.
Yeah. Look at that scheme, the Kubiak-Shanahan scheme in general. Look at where they've gotten running backs. And then you go and throw an Ashton Genty into the mix.
Yeah.
I mean, look, anybody that has eyes that knows a damn thing about football knows that kid can play ball. Like,
so,
it's crazy. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but like, if you go back and look at the stats of yards after contact as well, what he did, he's getting hit right as he touches the ball. So, like, again, don't tell me Ashton isn't it, because I think you give Ashton, again, the offensive line and the players around him, that kid is going to do some things.
So one thing I would like to try to give a similarity to, I want to go back and look at what he did in Minnesota.
Yeah.
With that offense. What he had Dalvin Cook. I think he had Conklin as one of his tight ends. And then he also had, that's when he had Justin Jefferson. He had Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, Kirk was balling under him.
I think it's going to look something similar to that.
Yeah.
And
I will say the one thing, and sorry, I jump in again, but
you good, man. You good.
Yeah, but with the one thing, and I saw this on ESPN when I was watching, but they pulled up a graphic of the number of starts by quarterback, like the number of starts that the quarterbacks had before Klint got a hold of them, essentially. And all of them had a lot of starts under their belt in the league before Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy was the only guy that I think he had like 5 or 7 starts under his belt before he started working with Kubiak. And then obviously we saw what Purdy went and did. So like, yeah, he's worked with mostly veteran quarterbacks, and also in a situation there in San Francisco where he's surrounded by a quality staff that's been around for a long time and all that stuff. Having said all of that, Mendoza is, I think, as perfect a fit as he could hope to get. And so I think it's going to be just fine in terms of them and what they do. It may not be immediate, all that stuff, but it's easy to see the fit with Kubiak and Mendoza and the scheme that he runs and how he can fit into it. Mendoza even talked about the fact of the familiarity with the Kubiak-Shanahan type scheme in terms of their play action passes and stuff like that they used at Indiana as well. So there's familiarity there. So, yeah, I think, again, address the offensive line, fix that. Obviously, everybody knows that. But the fit in the pieces, like we talked about, they're all there, and you can actually see like the vision in front of you for what it can become. And I think that's why Raiders fans can and should be excited. I've had the conversation many times down there, over the course of the last week or so, and then obviously today at the facility, of it just feels different. I've said that before in regards to the Raiders, being completely honest. But this time it really does feel different because you can see the true path.
Oh, that's real. And again, just going back and looking at Mark Davis sitting back in that room, out of all the years, you done seen that man in that tight suit with his bowl cut up front at the podium. This man sitting back. He got the St. John's Bay Italian dress shirt on. He got his nice Dockers khakis with a brown belt. He's not wearing the white bleached suiting on. No, this man was feeling himself. He
have a
felt
drink?
good.
Yeah.
I think he even had a drink before it started. He was like, proceed.
Yeah, Mark was holding court back there. Like, I mean, and I've said this before, and I've said it many a times. I know Raider Nation has sometimes not a I don't know, rocky or hot and cold relationship with Mark Davis, and I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. The product hasn't been there. He would be the first to admit that. But I will say this, and I respect the hell out of that man for how accessible he is. Find me, aside from Jerry Jones, a more accessible owner in sports, really. I mean, he is always available to us, always gives us all the time in the world. The PR folks down there for the Raiders are great, but they'll cut things off, and Mark just keeps going and going and going. Like, he gives everyone all the time in the world. And again, that's a man that now, like you said, he's kicking back, looking like he just got back from vacation or something. Now, he's been putting in work, obviously. He was up there interviewing Kubiak as well. But
Yeah.
that looks like a man that knows, hey, this was our plan, and the guys that I put in place to get it done got it done.
Nah, absolutely. And I was I was like, I just really want to make sure I'm right, but this man was smiling when you guys were interviewing him after the whole presser.
Yeah.
Compared to Pete, AP, McDaniels, he wasn't smiling back then.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, I kept a serious face. Today, he was like, shit, yeah, man, we did that. We good.
Yeah. There's just no, like, he doesn't have to justify the hire. I think is a good way to put it. Like, in years past, there would always have to be a yeah, but, and then you'd have to kind of justify why you made the move and things like that. With this one, as he's talking, like, it all makes sense, You can, and yes, you can still poke holes in things and stuff, like you can in every argument, but like, it just, this is the one where for the first time in quite some time with the Raiders, you're like, yeah, this is what we all thought they were going to try and do from the get-go, and they did it. And so that is a massive win for them, and that's why you see him kicking back.
Hey.
For a long time, I feel like I can begin to take a deep breath, and that everything that they should actually be doing is just kind of unfolding in real time the way that it's supposed to happen for all the years that we've watched the dysfunctionality, we'll call it.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Somebody recently on one of the clips that we put out said it felt like the dark cloud that's been over the organization is starting to lift. And I was like, wow, that's a really poetic way to put it in such a horrible, dark way. But like, it's a great way to put it.
Right.
Because it does look like that. Because again, like, and this is before they even got Kubiak. Like, when we're looking at all the coaches that they were interviewing, because like, I also think Davis Webb, real interesting guy out there in the mix. This is a guy that like you hear rising through the coaching ranks and all that stuff.
So what do you know about Davis Webb?
Man,
because
yeah.
he was a hard guy to find information on, aside from the fact that he went from playing to coaching, and Peyton loves him, and to where now he's being interviewed for head coaching jobs, and he's only 31. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, the big thing on him, he's a quarterback whisperer, and that those guys are hard to find in the league. Now, yeah, it seems as you look around at the Kevin O'Connells, the Shanahans, the McVays, and now that you can be like, oh well, there's a bunch of those guys, but like it's hard to get those guys,
Right.
And so that's why a guy like him rises through the ranks so much, and you see the guys that he's been around, like look in Buffalo. They wanted him to retire a year before he did, because they were like, we want you to retire and come coach for us. Like, that doesn't happen very often for a player, let alone a quarterback, And so he rose through the ranks because like he's been there, done that as a player. And Cody Alexander from Match Quarters, a friend of mine we brought on the podcast, and like he breaks everything down so well. He was one of the first guys to say, hey, no, Davis Webb is a legitimate candidate. Like, at first I was like, okay, like this is just a guy that they're doing some work on for later on down the road or something like that. And he was like, no, this has legs. And he brought this up, and it's high school, but like his dad's been a high school coach, or was a high school coach in Texas for years. Just like, and I understand Clint's dad did it at a much higher level for years, but you're still growing up around the game. Like Davis Webb used to write out the plays on the note cards. Like his dad's plays, he'd write about on note cards when he was a kid. And so like when your football brain is already working at that age, like look at kids, you know, when they're coming up, like you get a kid involved in any sport at a young age, they're like a sponge. So you're getting that head start. It's even just like investing, compound interest. The earlier you start, the more you're going to reap the rewards and less work it takes to get to that point to be able to reap those rewards. So like with the Davis Webb, that's where that really came into play. Is like, this is a guy that's been operating with football at such a high level at such an early age, then goes and works around so many different big minds in football. I mean, look, he's behind Patrick Mahomes when he's at Texas Tech. He goes and works with Kubiak as well throughout that time, then goes to the league, works with Josh Allen out there in Buffalo. The head coach at the time was that Daboll was the offensive coordinator, and it wasn't McDermott that was the head coach then, was he?
No, McDermott was still there.
Yeah, so it was McDermott still as a head coach. He's like, he's a good head coach. Like, let's keep it real about that. Like when he came on the market, some people were like, oh, let's see where he ends up going. You know, and then so a guy that's like been there, done that, and backup quarterbacks are tasked with so much. Like people don't realize that. Jordan Rodriguez from The Athletic, another ad for The Athletic here on your show, but Jordan Rodriguez for The Athletic wrote an article last year about what backup quarterbacks are tasked with doing, what their day-to-day really is like. And like, it's so cliche, but they really are an extension of the coaching staff. So they're essentially doing coaching work while they're still playing, you know, and they're that intermediary, and they're in there watching film and breaking it down with the quarterback and all that, with the starter, you know? And so like there's a lot that goes into that. So that's those are some of the reasons why he rose through the ranks so quickly, because he's kind of been there, done that, and just has that kind of next level mind for the game. And honestly, that Sean Payton scheme works. It's just a bit slow. And I think he probably now we'll see in Denver possibly if he's actually going to be calling plays, if that operation gets sped up a bit more and they add some more modern elements into it.
So, question from the audience: was it Spytek's idea to have the Hall of Famers with Coach?
That I'm not sure, honestly, whose idea that was. I would imagine, and this is just me spitballing here, I don't know. I didn't think to ask that, but I would imagine it was probably a Mark Davis thing. You know, you guys know Mark is so big on once a Raider, always a Raider. And he really does embody that, you know. He does it better than any other owner, I think, in the NFL in terms of treating his former players right and bringing them back, getting them involved. They're actually the only team in the league that brings their alumni back for health screening and their direct family. Like Mark Davis pays for all of that. So he loves, he pays for all of it. He brings them in, and their direct family, their immediate family, also gets health screenings. Like it's crazy. And I don't think any other team at the time, the Raiders were the only one that did it. This was last year. And now I think other teams maybe have jumped on. I don't know for sure, but at the end of the day, like the Raiders had done that, and they've been doing similar things for years. So they really backed that up. So I would imagine that was probably a Mark Davis thing.
Damn.
Yeah. Wow. The only other that I would think of would be where they had any part of the whole hiring interview process. Because I know at times various members of them have been. In what capacity, obviously, I can't tell you. But they were involved in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I think it's probably more so. And again, this is just another spitball one because I took it as, and everybody I've talked to is it's Spytek and Brady, you know, and those are the guys that they too are the tip of the spear in this one. But I wouldn't be surprised if they lean on those legends a bit just to say, hey, what have you heard about these guys, you know, throughout the league and all that? Because like you guys know, like players talk. They're connected. They've bounced around. Like, yes, they may be Raiders legends, but they know guys on other teams and that have played for, you know, Gary and all that stuff. Like, I mean, these guys are doing a deep, deep dive. You could probably imagine the stuff they unearth about some of these candidates, you know? So, like, I would be shocked if they don't lean on, you know, some of the legends of the organization and be like, hey, what do you think about this guy? What do you know about him? And even also, again, just from a football mind perspective, from the guys that have been there, done that. Obviously, Brady, like we talked about, the GOAT and his mind for the game, having been there and done that. But, like, how would you not lean on a Rich Gannon, a Charles Woodson, you know? How would you not lean on a Plunkett and the guys that, yes, maybe haven't done it, Woodson excluded, haven't done it in the modern NFL era, or at least as close as Brady was involved in actually playing. But why would you not lean on the guys that have been there and done that? Because, like, I say it all the time, too, like, you can fool us. You can fool media members. I played college ball, but like I didn't play in the NFL. Like,
Right.
but when I was in college, I could see a fraud. Like we would have somebody come in, and I wasn't a good college player. Like I knew I wasn't good, but like somebody would come in and be like, "Hey, they're just like me. They're not good either," you know. But then you knew the dogs. You knew the dogs, and so like these guys in the NFL, they know right away. They know right away if you're for real or not. And so yeah, I think you would have to lean on those guys with their football minds that have again been there, done that, and put their bodies on the line. And also, let's not forget, Klint played too.
Yeah, state at Colorado State.
Colorado State. Yeah, he was a captain, if I remember right.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's the other thing too that I think is really interesting. And I thought of it today, and I'm like, damn, next time we talk to him, I just want to kind of get I just want to get his idea on like how the hell he ended up being an offensive guy. I mean, obviously, again, with his dad and all that stuff, but like this is the guy that played on the other side of the ball. Like too often you see coaches like they're in their little silo. They're an offensive coach or they're a defensive coach. They don't know what's going on the other side of the ball, like, or they do, but they're not super involved. Like Klint obviously came up playing on the defensive side of the ball and then went to the offensive side. So I think that's just kind of an interesting little wrinkle in there. He's also seen it and played and seen the defensive side of the game, and maybe that's now helped him as an offensive coordinator.
That's what I would. So the keys, the checks, what happens in this particular situation, when the matchups switch, and how to cause confusion in the communication. Because what you end up seeing a lot of is guys coming free, especially after they're coming off emotions and crossing zones, especially when he's catching them in threes and single highs.
Yeah. Well, and look at this too. So like go back and look at the NFC Championship game. What was all the talk after that? That Klint schemed it up. Klint schemed it up. Klint schemed it up. You see all the breakdowns too of the way they use Jackson Smith and Jigba in terms of the motions and all that. This is an offense that is going to have a ton of motions. What was it? 60% of the time they had motions incorporated into plays, I think it was. So that's going to come to Vegas. You better believe that. That is a pivotal part of this scheme and this offense. And I'm excited for that. Just as the guy that covers the game, because God, that just it helps us get a read on it too when we're up there in the booth to figure out what coverage they're in, because these defenses are hard, you know. And so it's good, and it creates leverage and it puts defenses in binds. And so he was taking advantage of their rules. You go back and look at the play with Jackson Smith and Jigba when they motioned him into the backfield. The defense did the right thing.
Yep.
They just put them into a bind, you know. They took advantage of their rules. And so yeah, that goes back to his understanding. And obviously every NFL coach understands the basics of that type of stuff. Not basics, at a much higher level. They're in the NFL. But like to be able to do that consistently, and even look, I even said this, like, look at all the field goals they kick in this game against the Patriots, you know, in the Super Bowl and all that stuff. That's a damn good defense. They do still ultimately score 29 points. They get some help from their defense. Yeah, okay, whatever. So it's not the most like flashy offensive output for him to kind of go out on. You know what I mean? But look at the throws, and Sam Darnold played some great football by avoiding the rush and all that stuff. But look at some of the throws that he missed on. There were guys that Klint still schemed open against a damn good defense, and against the guy in Christian Gonzalez, who was one of the best in the business, who made some unreal plays. One, because he's a dog, and two, because Sam Darnold let him back into the plays with some of the decisions that he made too. So like, let's not forget about that. So I think that's all stuff that needs to be taken into account. Not that I think anybody's knocking Klint or anything like that. But like, as I was sitting back there watching, you think, you're like, oh, they kicked a lot of field goals. Oh, they got a touchdown for the defense. Like, and then you go look at that 29 points and you're like, well, that didn't leave a whole lot for you to be like super fired up about. But again, the opportunities were there. And at the end of the day, every coach will tell you, how many times did we hear it this year with Pete Carroll? We just didn't execute. You know, how many times did you hear that? And so had they lost that game, that would have been the story, is we just didn't execute and we didn't capitalize on those opportunities. Because you go back and watch the tape from the Super Bowl, there are guys that are running open.
Especially that one play in the first half.
Yeah.
Jackson Smith and Jigba. Man, it was right there.
Yeah.
Even with the pressure in his face, he doesn't make that step back and throw off that back foot.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, is like over the years, God, I went back and looked at it. So the Raiders have scored 29 points once in the last 2 seasons, you know? And Kubiak averaged 28 points something up there in Seattle, you know? So again, go back and look at how many times this guy has schemed guys into open space. there has been a lack of open space for a lot of the Raiders playmakers over the years. And so that, again, is another thing that's just like, you got to be fired up if you're a Raiders fan, because this guy knows how to scheme people open. And again, none of that matters until you fix the offensive line. But I think they are going to invest heavily in that, and they're going to figure out a way to coach it simply to them and get these guys on board. But again, if their offensive line is even league average, there's going to be a lot of space out there for those guys.
Yeah.
And just imagining what Ashton Genty would do with just an average line.
Yeah.
Like he had what, 975 yards rushing?
Yep.
And I think he had over
over
total yards? What?
1,300.
1,300?
He broke Josh's record for scrimmage yards by a rookie. Yeah.
Now give him an average O line. You're probably looking at him rushing for 1,300 yards.
Yeah.
He probably. I'm gonna be real here. 1,300 yards rushing, and he probably end up having about 800 yards receiving.
Yeah. I don't remember who it was. God, I saw somebody. It was a former player. Oh no, it was Derek Carr, actually. Yeah, it was Derek Carr. I saw a clip where he said that he thought Ashton Genty could rush for 1,800 yards in this offense. Now that's a big number. That's a very big number. But Derek Carr's got experience with this offense and all that stuff. I'm not saying Ashton, and he even said too, he was like, "Well, okay, pump the brakes." He's getting at that, like, Ashton can have a lot of success in this offense once they get things in place here. And so, like, yeah, it's the opportunity is there for Ashton to rush for well over 1,000 yards with Klint Kubiak at the helm. Like, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, their run scheme isn't that much different than the one he ran at Boise, right? A lot of stretch plays, hammer it in between on the inside zones, and then take it out wide.
Yeah,
the screen game. So yeah, that actually would feed exactly into what he did. Now the question is, are they going to feed him like they did at Boise? I would hope not.
Yeah, nah. They're going to get another back. They're whether they believe in Zamir or whatever, I don't know. Like he's on his way back up to Seattle. You know, he's going to go celebrate a Super Bowl, so he has another chance to really dig into the roster. But there's going to be a number 2 running back, and I don't like. Yes, you don't draft Ashton that high to not feed him the rock. He's going to get the rock, but there's going to be another running back involved that's going to get a share of the carries as well. But I'd be shocked if they're not feeding Ashton. I don't know what the carries per game numbers look like for Kenneth Walker up there, but I'd imagine they're pretty high, and I'd imagine that usage is good. I'd imagine that Ashton Genty's usage will be higher than Kenneth Walker's was, no matter who they end up getting as their number 2 back. But they are going to get a number 2 back, and they're going to rotate the rope for sure. But don't forget about Ashton, like you said, as a receiver. People forget his junior year in college, he led all of college football in receiving yards by running back.
Yeah.
You know, like the kid can catch. People forget about that.
Yeah.
So if anything, if I were to draft a running back, let's say in maybe the early 4th round, I'd probably get a guy like a Mr. Hemby from out of Indiana, old Maryland boy. I gotta get my Maryland boys, you know. But that would be a guy I would like to see with Ashton Genty. You give some bruising power from him. He can also receive out the backfield as well. And then you go on and make a 1-2 punch.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm looking it up right now, but let's also not forget, where did Raheem Mostert have some of his best years? Before Miami, obviously. But he came on the map, you know, so he had a 1-year deal with the Raiders. So he's obviously a free agent. And I know that doesn't necessarily instill the most confidence or whatever, or be like, oh, man. But, like, let's not forget about him. This is a guy that had success in this system, in this Shanahan-style system.
Yeah.
You know? And he came through as a solid special teams player for the Raiders, too, and he's a good locker room guy. So I wouldn't rule out a return for Raheem Mostert either. I don't think they're going to invest a ton in their number 2 running back because, again, go back and look at this system over the years and where they've gotten running backs and what they've done. I mean, we brought up Arian Foster. Wasn't he an undrafted free agent? You know?
Yeah.
I feel like this offense is littered with undrafted free agents that have been quality backs over the years. So, yeah, I'd imagine they won't be not to say it can never happen, but as much needs as they have, I'd kind of be shocked to see him invest a 4th round pick in a running back, especially after drafting Genty last year. I would imagine they'd probably go more, the bargain hunting deal, maybe late draft or bargain hunting on free agency.
That could definitely work.
Yep.
Makes sense. Because the Shanahan's drafted running backs at the end of the draft anyway and turned them into Hall of Fame
Yeah, that's true.
frequently.
Exactly. And what do you think they're going to do now with an Ashton Genty? That's the thing where I'm like,
Yeah, they hit it up like Kenneth Walker. He's uniquely suited to the style of offense that they run.
Yeah. And how could you not sit up there and watch the Super Bowl and see that stance and the way he's running and think,
yes,
wait a second, that looks like somebody I've seen before.
I sat and watched the whole. It was like playing against fucking Madden. I'm sitting here and I'm watching and I see the Seahawks, but I was like, okay, Mendoza's under center. You're gonna have your receiver out wide. Here's Brock at tight. Got Genty behind him. We'll keep feeding Genty. Set up the tight end. Boom! There's a touchdown to go ahead and seal the deal.
Yeah.
Man, game over. Raiders win.
Now, the one thing I will say that you do see in a Kubiak offense, a fullback.
Yes.
And I damn sure see us bringing in one.
Yeah.
Whether it's free agency or you get one late in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
There's some options out there.
Yeah. They're definitely going to need one. That's something they've got to figure out for sure. And it sucks too, because this was a handful of years ago, but they had a pretty damn good athletic one in Alec Ingold.
Yeah.
And I had the conversation with somebody the other day, and I looked up his contract. I forget. Let me look it up real fast here.
Ask when does he come back up a free agent? Because I'd love to see Alec Ingold come.
Bring him back home, damn it.
But he'd want to go play with Josh, though. Him and Josh were boys.
Yeah, this is true. So he's actually he's an unrestricted free agent heading into 2027. So he's got one more year left on that deal.
How much are they paying him? How much is guaranteed?
Let's see, where's it guaranteed at? Well, the base is $3.5 million.
Oh yeah, they ain't cutting him.
Yeah, no, they ain't cutting him at all. Yeah. Their cap hit would be $5 million if they cut him. So yeah, that ain't happening. So let that ship sail, I guess. But maybe in a couple of years. But yeah, I'm real curious to see where they go the fullback route. I mean, look at even Jakob Johnson, right? That was his last name. The Raiders had a couple of years ago too. Another guy, like obviously not a use check type player, but you can bet that they're going to try and find somebody like that, to fit into that role. I'm fascinated to see.
If I'm not mistaken,
team
Patrick Ricard, he should be a free agent.
Oh, really? That could be interesting. There was a fan had messaged me. I think he DM'd me a while back and said, "Hey, look into this kid." And I'll be honest with you guys too. And I love the fans because they're always so far ahead. Mm-hmm. I'm just like the coaches. I'm like one game at a time, one day at a time. Like I just got done dealing with all the deep dives on the coaches, man. I haven't even really started to do a deep dive into free agency and the draft and stuff. Like obviously, I know some of the guys coming out because you watch some college football. But it's like some of the names, like I love the fans because it's like that you guys are always so tapped into anything and everything. But it's like there's times when I'm like, damn, I just got done with the season. I haven't had the time to really see.
And he is a free agent.
Is he? Okay, yeah. So this was one shout out to Aaron Davis. Me and him have gone back and forth. Awesome Raiders fan. He's always involved on a lot of the stuff we do. He said to take a look at fullback Max Bredston from Michigan. He'd be a 5th or 6th round pick, he's saying. But I'm real curious to see again when I go back and watch what that kid did, how he could possibly fit into things, because that is such a critical part of this offense.
Yeah.
Is he going to try and copy more of what Shanahan does up there in San Francisco? If so, you need your use check type player. Now, I asked a couple of guys if Brock Bowers could be that, but like a souped up version of it. And I got shot down. I was like, they were like, no, which I personally, but like, I could see them using him in that role at times, trying to hide him as like the ultimate Joker. You know what I mean? And that was kind of what they said as well. So yeah, I think they're going to try and find themselves their own version of Juszczyk. Maybe the kid out of Michigan is that.
Okay, yeah. No, clearly, widely regarded as clear number one, huh? Okay. Thanks, Space Beats. No, I'm look. I don't. Can you see the comment section underneath?
No, I got you guys up in my monitor, and it's too small. Yeah, to read that.
So it's just basically saying Bredesen is the widely regarded as the number one fullback prospect.
There you go.
Although JJ a little bit of fullback too.
That's true. Or you can bring in Riley Nowakowski.
That's another one too. Hey, look, I mean, there's tons of options. That's why it's going to be so interesting to see like how it actually does pan out. That's the thing. Like I always like we can all sit up here and project it. It's fun doing that because like I really enjoy the off season because like we all get to get in the lab and come up with these crazy scenarios and play that what if game. Like I love playing the what if game. It's always fun, but it's so cool to see the coaches do that because like they get to play the real life fantasy football deal and piece this together. And so that's the fun part and what I can't wait to do here in the off season. You know, when the tampering period comes around and all that stuff, and then when they hire coaches, and then you really got to get to sit back and like analyze, okay, what are the moves that make the most sense? And then you can start to piece things together. And so like, that's why it's fun. So that's why I'm looking forward to see who the heck they end up doing, you know, tabbing to be their defensive coordinator, because then we'll know what that scheme is going to look like. And you can figure out, okay, who are the guys that could bring back and who are the guys that could possibly take that next step that are currently on the roster or upcoming free agents from the Raiders from last year. And then two, who are the guys out there landscape wise in the draft and all that stuff they can bring in. Like that's the fun stuff, you know?
That's real.
All right. So you got anything else for Jesse here, Jones?
No, I do not right now.
Nope. All right, Jesse, what are you promoting on your way out? On our way out.
Yeah, so it's actually looking like on our Thursday show, we're going to be catching up with Kirk Morrison, former Raiders linebacker, current radio analyst for the Raiders. We're going to get his take on Klint Kubiak, and he asked Klint today, about his defensive coordinator and who what he looks for in that. So I want to get Kirk's take one on like who he would like to see as the defensive coordinator for the Raiders, but two also like breaking down this offense from a defensive standpoint of like what it's like as a linebacker trying to stop this rushing attack. So we'll be diving into that on our Thursday show. So keep an eye out for that, guys.
Nice.
All right. Sweet.
Well, Jesse, thank you for your time. Always a pleasure. Hopefully we won't have to wait the whole season. We'll get to do this again, maybe after the draft.
Yeah, we could definitely try and make it happen, guys. You know how it is. We'll make this happen again. It's always fun chopping it up with you.
Right on. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Please give us a thumbs up, like, subscribe, tell a friend, all of that. Give us that good old unfiltered salute. He's Jones. I'm Robinson. We are out. God bless.